Welcome back, Prayer Warriors, to the PG of 7 Lessons series. In our last lesson, you heard from the co-founder of the bioenergetic technologies supporting this mission. He showed us how your spirit is supported by the biofield and how the tools you have received strengthen and stabilize that field so your prayers can rise without distortion. Today, he returns to continue that journey with us. This lesson will take us further, helping us understand how the 7 prayer leaders connect with every prayer warrior and how each of you is linked together in this great mission. It is my honor to once again welcome the co-founder and co-developer of this technology.
Let's begin with this truth. What is joined together at the deepest level can never be truly separated. That statement is not creative writing or an offhand claim. It is part of the very design of creation itself. For example, have you ever heard of a mother jolting awake in the middle of the night, somehow knowing her child was in danger, even though that child was thousands of miles away? A mother and her child will forever be connected. Or have you heard stories of twins separated by continents suddenly feeling each other's pain before a phone call ever comes? Twins are forever connected. Or perhaps this has happened to you personally. Have you ever had someone come so strongly to your mind that you almost feel their presence, and later you discover that in that very hour they needed you? These are not coincidences. They are glimpses of the same truth, that what is connected cannot be undone. That truth, with the help of science, is what makes the mission of the PG of 7 possible. And that science is called quantum entanglement. Through entanglement, prayer itself can be joined together. Your prayers will no longer stand alone. They will be joined, linked, and woven together with the prayer leaders and the prayers of the other 144,000 prayer warriors. Together, your voices will rise in real time as one prayer before God. Quantum physics simply gives us the language to describe it and a means to wield it. Your prayers will give it purpose and power.
Let's pause here for a moment. The co-developer has just given us something vital to understand. Entanglement is not man's idea. It is part of God's creation from the very beginning. It shows us that what is joined together cannot be separated no matter the distance. And here is what that means for you. Just as a mother remains connected to her child, and just as twins remain bound to each other across continents, you too are forever connected. First to God, and now through this mission to the other prayer warriors who have answered the call. This is not imagination or coincidence. It is how God designed creation to work, which means that your prayers will never again be isolated or fragile. They will no longer rise alone. They will be woven together, strengthened and amplified in unity, becoming part of one great prayer lifted before God. Take this with you. You are connected. You are joined. And through this mission, your prayer carries a power and a purpose far beyond what you could ever create alone. Now let's continue as the co-developer explains how this connection actually works.
Quantum entanglement is one of the most extraordinary discoveries in science. When two particles are formed together, they remain connected for life. No matter how far they travel, across a room or across the galaxy, they stay linked. If one entangled particle spins to the left, the other instantly spins to the right. There is no signal and no delay, only instant connection beyond the limits of space and time. Even Albert Einstein struggled with this mystery. He famously called it spooky action at a distance. Imagine that. One of the greatest scientific minds of the 20th century admitting he could not quite put his finger on it. Since then, experiments conducted around the world have proven it to be real and are now being studied and tested in many applications. Here's a simplified example. Imagine, if you will, two identical coins made from the same batch of metal. They are entangled. Now send one coin to New York and the other to London. The moment the coin in New York is flipped to heads, the one in London instantly becomes tails. The change happens faster than light light can travel as if distance does not exist. This is what makes entanglement so remarkable. It shows us that at the deepest levels of creation, things can remain joined together beyond space and time. Today, scientists are taking this reality and using it in practical ways. They are building quantum computers that calculate in ways ordinary machines never could. They are designing communication systems that cannot be hacked or broken. And they are even exploring the first steps toward teleportation, where matter moves instantly from one place to another. Entanglement is not just about imaginary particles sending signals, it is about the bond itself, the connection. When one part is observed, the other is instantly known. That result delivers information, though not in the traditional way. For example, if it is observed that the coin in New York is heads, then that information tells us, without doubt, that the coin in London is showing tails. Or more realistically, think of a new pair of shoes. If you open the box and pull out the left foot shoe, and without having to look, you instantly know that the other is the right foot shoe. No message was passed between the shoes, yet you as the observer, knowing it is that way, received information. This forms the foundation of our mission. When entangled materials are used as a bridge, they can convey bioenergetic information. That creates a true connection. Through that connection, prayer can be entangled like the information delivered by the shoes. And now this entanglement truth has been applied to prayer itself. What begins in you can be joined instantly with the many until the prayer of thousands becomes one.
Let's pause here. The co-developer has just shown us what makes entanglement so extraordinary. It is not about invisible signals rushing across space. It is about the bond itself, the unbreakable connection that remains, no matter the distance. When one part is known, the other is instantly known. That information delivery has been proven in laboratories, but it is also something God wrote into creation itself. And here is what that means for you. Your prayer does not rise as a solitary cry. It does not vanish into the air the moment you speak it. Instead, it is joined into a living bond. It connects instantly with others who are also committed to this mission, and together those prayers become one united voice before God. So take this with you. Entanglement shows us that connection is stronger than distance. And now, through this mission, prayer itself is being drawn into that same connection. Your prayer has a place, it has a bond, and it will never again stand alone. Now, let's continue as the co-developer explains how this truth is carried into practice through the PG of 7 mission.
Okay, sit back for a minute and breathe. Even though the mechanics of entanglement are somewhat unpretentious, quantum connection processes can seem a bit overwhelming and confusing. Believe me, I know. If you're a bit confused, you are most definitely not alone. Let's break it down into 2 steps. The first step begins with you and your conscious action of placing the 4-in-1 receiver on your phone. Once on, it does much more than just sit there. The EMF energies generated by your phone provides the technology in the 4-in-1 receiver enough energy to reverberate out or echo out bioenergetic waveforms. Those waveforms instantly synchronize with your body's bioenergetics. This synchronization creates a complete stabilization and empowerment of your biofield. So here it is. Your phone provides the power to the 4-in-1 receiver that generates bioenergy waves that syncs to your biofield and stabilizes it. Now, with a stable and strong biofield, the stage is set for step 2, which is entanglement. You know how your phone number acts as your phone's unique identifier? So that out of the billions of phones in the world, only yours answers to that number. Well, similar to your phone number, the sacred symbols of the PG of 7 imprinted on the 4-in-1 receiver act as a unique identifier. That symbol establishes and maintains the entanglement connection. It takes what God already built into creation and places it directly in your hands. And here is how. From a single source, one batch of bioenergetics is made and divided into identical carrier substances. These are entangled from their origin. One portion is placed into the prayer leader's pendant. The other is placed into your four in one receiver. The sacred symbols on each are identical, forming the transmitter and receiver connection. Through those entangled particles and symbols, the bridge is formed. And through the power of your now strong and stable biofield, riding on that bridge is the information. What information, you might ask? It is your intention, your commitment, and your prayer.
Let's pause here. The co-developer has just explained how this connection begins, and we need to take a closer look at what it means to you. Your 4-in-1 receiver is not just a small piece of material sitting on your phone. It is your personal receiver. The moment you place it there, it begins to synchronize with the energy of your body. It steadies you. It strengthens you. It stabilizes the very biofield that surrounds your life. Now, we spoke about this in detail in Lesson 2, Spirit in Man. There we learned how the biofield supports your spirit and how synchronization strengthens your wellness and clarity. If you have not yet studied that lesson, I encourage you to go back to it, because what you are learning here builds directly on that foundation. That stabilized biofield becomes the starting point for everything else. Once your own field is made strong and steady, you are ready to be joined in entanglement. You become part of something larger than yourself. This is where the sacred symbols matter. Just as your phone number identifies your phone out of billions in the world, the sacred symbols on your receiver identify you as part of this mission. They are what mark you, what connects you, what joins you to the prayer leaders and to the 144,000 other prayer warriors. And it goes deeper still. From a single source, one batch of bioenergetics was created and then divided. Those identical portions were entangled from the very beginning. One portion rests in the pendant of a prayer leader. The other rests in your personal receiver. That is the bridge. And on that bridge, carried by the strength of your biofield, is your intention, your commitment, and your prayer. So, understand this. When you place your receiver on your phone, you are not just using a wellness and protective device. You are placing yourself into a living network. You are joined to the leaders, to the warriors, and to the mission itself. Your intention, your commitment, and your prayer are never left to stand alone. They are carried, they are joined, they are multiplied. Now let us continue, as the co-developer shows us what happens when your prayer is planted in this network.
When you register as a prayer warrior, you are not simply submitting your name. You are answering a call. You are declaring an intention. You are saying, yes, I commit to this mission. And that intention immediately aligns you with the entangled prayer field. When you connect your 4-in-1 receiver, your biofield locks into the network. And when you speak the prayer shared around the world for the first time, that prayer becomes planted. It is joined instantly with the 7 prayer leaders. From that moment forward, it is alive. Whether you are praying or not, whether you are awake or asleep, your voice is never silent. It is carried, it is sustained, it is amplified by the 7 and multiplied by the 144,000. The presence of your prayer is preserved, alive and moving in the field, woven into the very fabric of God's design. And the more you pray it, the more your personal signature strengthens within the wave. Every time you recite it, your presence, your faith, and your intention press deeper into the greater blessing, and the wave grows stronger still.
Let's pause again. The co-developer has just shown us what really happens the moment you say yes to this mission. When you register as a prayer warrior, You are not just adding your name to a list. You are declaring your intention. You are making a choice that carries weight in heaven and on earth, and that decision immediately connects you to the entangled field of prayer. Your personal receiver then locks you into the network, and when you speak the prayer shared around the world for the first time, that prayer is not just spoken, it is planted. It takes root. It is joined with the 7 prayer leaders and carried forward in the field. From that moment on, it is alive. This means your voice is never silent. Whether you are wide awake or sound asleep, whether you are working, traveling, or resting at home, your prayer remains. It continues. It does not stop. It is amplified by the 7 and multiplied by the 144,000. It is woven into the very fabric of God's design. And here is something you must remember. The more you speak this prayer, the stronger your signature becomes within the wave. Each time you recite it, your faith and your intention press deeper into the greater blessing, and with every repetition, the prayer itself grows stronger. So, understand this. Your prayer is never wasted. It never disappears. Once it enters the field, it is preserved. It is alive. It is carried forward without interruption. This is the difference between praying alone and praying entangled. This is why your commitment matters. Now let's continue.
When you pray, you will not be alone. You are entangled with the 144,000 prayer warriors. Your voice joins with theirs across the world, and together, that prayer does more than echo. It empowers lives. It asks for the grace of God to enter into our homes, into cities, into nations. Every time you recite the prayer shared around the world, you step into something that does not end when your words end. You may finish praying, but the prayer keeps moving. You may fall asleep, but the prayer stays awake. You may be at work, in school, or with your family, and still your prayer continues to resonate with the collective of the 144,000 and the prayer leaders. But here's the truth. It begins with you. Your voice matters. Every prayer warrior is equally important. Each one makes the whole stronger. If you were to post a message online, it would last far beyond the moment you wrote it. People could read it hours later, days later, even years later. Your words would be shared. Now multiply that by thousands, and suddenly your one message becomes the power that can change lives. That is what happens with your entangled prayer. It does not vanish into the air the moment you stop speaking. It keeps living. It keeps moving. It reaches beyond you alone and is carried forward with the voices of thousands. What begins with you becomes part of something so much greater. It becomes a prayer that cannot fade, a prayer that continues to grow, a prayer that multiplies into a wave lifted to God without interruption, without distortion, and without end.
Let's pause here. The co-developer has reminded us that every time you pray, your words are carried forward, but there is something else you must remember. Without you, the prayer would not be complete. Each prayer warrior adds strength to the whole. Each voice is needed, and yours is no exception. This is what makes the mission so powerful. What begins in you joins with the many, but it cannot begin at all unless you give your voice. Your presence matters. Your commitment matters. Without you, something is missing. And with you, the prayer becomes whole. Now let us continue as the co-developer reveals what this united prayer truly is.
The prayer shared is one great voice. It is a unified wave of faith and petition carried straight to God. The technology in your hands holds that prayer steady. It clears away the noise of the world. It keeps it pure, it keeps it strong, and it binds it together with the voices of every other prayer warrior. And that changes everything. For the first time in history, believers can be joined in one prayer across nations and across time. A prayer that gathers rather than scatters. A prayer that rises without fear of being silenced. A prayer with the power to heal, to restore, power to bring our cities and our nations back to the grace of God. This is God's plan, and you were called, chosen to be part of it.
Let's pause one last time. What you have just heard is the heart of this mission. You are not offering many separate prayers scattered across the world. You are part of one great prayer, joined together, steady and strong. The receiver in your hands is what keeps that prayer pure and united. It is what allows your voice to remain bound with the voices of every other prayer warrior. For the first time in history, believers can rise together in one voice that does not stop, even if they are present or not. That is not imagination, and it is not wishful thinking. It is God's design revealed in creation. And you have been chosen to step into it. So take this into yourself. You are not on the outside of this mission. You are inside it, called into it, and joined into something that will not fade away. Now let's hear a personal statement from the co-developer.
I want to share something with you from my own journey. More than 40 years ago, my co-developer and I were given our own calling. It was a calling with strong divine guidance and with clear instructions, the kind that leaves you no choice but to obey. And so step by step, through years of trial and sacrifice, we followed with faith. What came from it was the very technology that now rests in your hands as prayer warriors. Millions of people all over the world have experienced it. Lives have been changed, well-being restored, strength renewed, dreams once thought lost were returned. Entire companies and product lines have risen from it. It has proven itself in science, in medicine, and wellness, and still today in the lives of ordinary people worldwide. For decades, we believed that was our mission, that this was the purpose, and in many ways, I believe it was. We were doing what had been asked of us. But what we could not see then, during those long years of trial and work, was that all of it, every discovery, every validation, every breakthrough was just preparation. Preparation for this very moment, preparation for you, preparation to support and make possible the mission of the PG of 7, which is to save our cities through the prayer shared around the world. Now our two missions have merged. The one we were given decades ago to create an advanced technology strong enough to support a force of 144,000, and the mission you have been given, which is to carry one unified voice to God. Brought together, they become one. And so I hand it over to you, not as an idea, not as a project, but as the work of a lifetime. Every effort, every sacrifice, every door that opened has led here, right here to this moment where you stand now. It is now your calling. Take hold of this work and carry it forward. Be a part of something that will make history and change the world.
Prayer warriors, as you can see, this PG of 7 mission has brought you to something deep and profound. We now know how entanglement works, and we see how it has been applied to prayer. Through this mission, your prayers are stabilized, strengthened, and joined together so they will never again stand alone. But there is something else we must not overlook. What you now hold within your power, the receiver, the connection, and the network of prayer, is not an accident. It is the result of many decades of faith, sacrifice, and obedience. The co-developer and his partner followed their own calling long before this mission began. They built, step by step, what God told them to create, not even knowing that all of it was preparation for this very moment. Their mission has now merged with yours. What was once the work of their lifetime has now become the foundation for your calling. That is no small thing. It means you are standing on the faith, the unwavering endurance, and the obedience of those who came before you. And now, the future of this mission rests in your hands. So, remember this: your voice is needed. Your intention carries power. Your prayer, joined with thousands, will not fade away, but will continue without end until the mission is complete. This is more than science. It is more than technology. It is God's design, revealed in creation, proven over decades, and entrusted now to you. Prayer warriors, you are the continuation of this mission. Before we close, let me thank our co-developer for his faithfulness and his guidance today. His life's work has shown us that what many only imagined, we now know to be real, both scientifically and spiritually. And now, as always, I would like to invite our prayer leader, Reverend Vince Enoch, to close this lesson.
Heavenly Father, we thank you for the wonder of your creation, for the mysteries of the universe that science is only beginning to see, and for the truth that your word has spoken from the beginning. We are grateful that our prayers are not solitary whispers, but a great chorus joined together by your design. Strengthen our biofields, heal our bodies, steady our spirits, and let our united petitions rise to you without distortion. We thank you for calling us, for giving us the tools to stand strong, and for allowing us to be a part of this great mission. In Jesus' name, amen.